by a show of hands, how many of you guys have dissected an animal in a lab experiment in school before? Okay. Do you guys remember the experience, the smell of the animal? Well, I do too. In my freshman year of high school, I took a living environment class, and I had to dissect a pig. I remember that before the day of the experiment, many upperclassmen were walking around the hallways and just coming up to us saying, "Oh, you guys will soon dissect a pig, and all you guys will be doing is just labeling the organs of the inside." And it made me realize, if we already know and they already know where the organs are located, why should we do it as well or repeat the experiment? Today, I will talk to you about how dissection can affect the environment and what are some alternatives that we can use instead of hands-on experiment. Dissecting species can affect the environment, especially when we dissect frogs. According to the World Conservation Union, researchers reported that in the year 2004, all amphibian species around the globe, including frogs, were threatened with extinction. It was estimated about 6 million wild frogs were destroyed each year in the United States for dissection classes. You may ask yourself, why do we care for frogs? Well, I'll tell you why. The more frogs we use, the increase of insect population, and the more pesticides we have to use. According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, a pesticide is a substance for insects or other organisms that are harmful to cultivate plants or animals. Some of the chemicals used to dissect species can create many health problems. One of the chemicals used is formaldehyde, also known as methanol. According to dictionary.com, this chemical is colorless, toxic, has a suffocating odor, and it is derived from methyl alcohol by oxidation. It is used as a disinfectant and a preservative. According to the article, Dissection, does classroom dissection deplete species, encourage cruelty to animals from Earth Talk? It is classified by the United States Environmental Program Agency that it is a hazardous air pollutant, water pollutant, and a water constituent. Therefore, this chemical can be very dangerous. The teachers and students who take part of these dissection experiments are frequently exposed to it. Now that you've seen what dissection can bring to the table, let's take a look at a solution that can change hands-on dissection lab experiments. Alternatives for hands-on dissection are applications which are to be considered and highly recommended. Some of the applications are Digital Frog 2.5 and Punflay's virtual dog dissection application. Punflay's application features a virtual frog, clear instructions, dissection tools, opening external skin and muscles of a frog, and a view of an image of organs in 3D. As you can see in the back behind me, this is the main menu of Punflay's application, and it shows a list of different areas where you can go and you can choose what you want to do. According to Nancy Harrison, a pathologist at Scripps Memorial Hospital, Chula Vista, she states that, as a doctor who performs autopsies, I can assure students that computer images of well-preserved tissues look more like the real thing than the squishy gray organs of a formalin-fixed specimen. These are some of the pictures that Punflay's application features. As you can see to my far left, it is starting to dissect the frog. The middle picture shows the inside of the frog, and you can see it gives you a section to where the tools are at. Which brings me to my final point as to why the alternatives are better. Using digital dissection makes it easier for students and teachers, which I can bring you back to my story. Dissection was very disturbing and messy. Having a lab of 30 students was impeccable, and only having one lab teacher was unacceptable. It is unable to keep track of every kid in the class. Let's say, what happens if time runs out in the classroom? What do you do then? You don't just leave the species there. Well, with the digital application, you can save it and you can return back to it. Since we know that schools are getting budget cuts, spending money is very critiqued. A lab class of 30 is expensive. According to the article, Virtual Labs, Award-Winning Virtual Dissection Apps by Walsh, a dissection kit of 30 students ranges about to $440. Dissection pans are about to $385. Dissection pins are worth $6. And let's not forget about the frogs, which are $310. Now keep in mind that we have to keep on buying this for every consecutive years. In total, for 1 year, it would cost $1,140. As you can see, the chart behind me, this is provided by the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. The digital frog comes to be $900, and the VC frog comes to $560. This chart compares of how the digital dissecting applications are. You buy them once, and you're good for, I guess, for the rest of the years. But if you keep on buying more and more species, it's going to cost you. As you can see from the far right, the costing savings after 5 years, if you switch to dissection applications, you save from $300 to $1,900. Hands-on dissecting should be stopped. It creates problems to our environment. In my experience, I dislike the fact of dissecting an animal. The stench of the pig was horrifying. Trying to run a lab costs a lot of money, and that's why we should switch to virtual. Thank you.
7:30, a little long. I'm letting them go because we have time today, so.